SHX by Stronghold is set to explode in the year 2026. Why do I say that? They have recently announced partnerships with Axelar that's going to provide a bridge between Stellar and Ethereum. Additionally, they have teamed up with Uphold. Then lastly, they are looking to expand even further into the XRP ledger. And while doing that, they're looking at expanding into the Solana network. Don't go anywhere as we dive into these news stories. Okay, so Stronghold SHX set to explode in 2026. Let's go ahead and cover those stories that I was talking about in the intro. But before we do, if you're new to the channel or maybe perhaps you're new to SHX as a whole, I just want to let you know I do have these 3 other videos that dive deeper into SHX, explains more about their partnerships, about their technology, where they've been, where they're going. So if you don't know about SHX, you definitely check those videos out. I will leave the playlist at the end of the video, in the description, in the pinned comment, so you can find that with ease if you want to check that out. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into why you're here is the news stories that we're talking about, the intro. We're actually going to start with the team up with Axelar. This is huge alone because Axelar is that bridge token that is connecting a bunch of projects together. And finally, SHX has teamed up with them. So let's go ahead and read from SHX and see what they had to say. We're going to go to their Twitter account or X account, whatever you want to call it, and let's see what they had to say about this. But I want to point this out. This is a bit of a newer or older story that came out October 14th, 2025. So this is just in case you missed this story. Let's go ahead and dive into it. It says, big news, SHX bridge. This week, Stronghold is bridging SHX between Stellar Org and Ethereum network using Axelar's secure interoperability protocol, unlocking seamless cross-chain movement. We keep rolling down. We see that number 2, the bridge allows SHX holders to move assets freely between Stellar and Ethereum, maintaining a 1-to-1 total supply across both chains. 3 and 4 is essentially just saying, hey, you need to update your old tokens. So if you held SHX for a while, you have older tokens, you need to have those updated now with this new partnership with Axelar so they can be interoperable with the new technology they are teaming up with. But if you're somebody that has held SHX for a while, then you are fully aware of that, I'm sure, by now. So I won't cover that too much more in detail. Let's keep rolling. So number 5, the bridge ensures consistent liquidity, exchange access, and interoperability across chains to tap into the utility of each ecosystem. Number 6, this is a major step toward a true multi-chain future for SHX. 1 unified supply starting with 2 powerful networks. Stay tuned for official upgrade instructions and the new contract address rollout. So like I said, if you have been around with SHX, you know about it, but maybe you're new to it. If you have bought it recently, if you bought it on Uphold, then you're good. You don't need the update, so don't worry about that piece of it. But why is this big? Well, now they have the interoperability to mesh with Ethereum and Stellar, which are going to be 2 major payments networks. If you look on your screen, again, let's just take a look and see how much money they're going to have exposure to now, right? So this is actually Stellar's network, and you can see we have $643.87 million on theirs. Then we scroll over to Ethereum. Ethereum has $12.20 billion. So now you have exposure to all this money that SHX can start tapping into. This is going to help provide more utility for this token, more validation for this token, which makes it more sought after, right? So if you're in now, you're still super early when it comes to SHX, because 2026, as you all know, is going to be a big year for RWA tokens or utility tokens, right? But let's keep reading on about the Uphold partnership that came out. So right over here from Business Wire, came out on November 27th, 2025. It states that Stronghold's SHX token lists on Uphold. So let's read more about this. We have Stronghold announced that its SHX token is now available for retail users to trade on Uphold, the global multi-asset digital money platform known for its transparency, regulatory alignment, and seamless support for assets across both Stellar and Ethereum networks. This listing marks a major milestone for SHX, expanding access for users and businesses who rely on Stronghold's tokens for payments, settlements, and governance participation. So let me catch my breath here, but Uphold has more than 10 million users, okay? And also, Uphold is worth billions of assets under management. So this is a massive exposure for the SHX token because in the past, you can get it on Stellar Term, MEXC, I believe Uniswap, I could be wrong. I'm just trying to think of what they used to be on. But now they have a mainstream exposure such as Uphold. I think you're going to see a Coinbase partnership here soon with them too. I have no evidence of that. That's just my gut feeling because Coinbase is making major moves right now. And I would not be surprised if we saw that come down the road later on. So let's read from Tammy Camp. She's the CEO and co-founder of Stronghold and what she had to say about this partnership. It says Uphold is one of the only platforms that provides seamless support for both Stellar and Ethereum based tokens, making a perfect fit for SHX as we grow our multi chain ecosystem. This listing was championed by our community, and we're thrilled to deliver on a request that so many SHX holders have been asking for. So we demanded, hey, let's get on Uphold, let's get more mainstream exposure. They made that happen as if they weren't going to. I think SHX and Stronghold Net is just getting to a point where they're really ready to have that mass adoption, and they're really ready to start moving forward with their technology being used in everyday applications. So this is exciting, especially again if you're in on it, you've been holding for a while, you're in on a project that is going to be massive. And if you watch my previous videos, this is my fourth video. We go in more details of who they have partnered with, what connections they have. When you really understand what this token's doing, you're going to understand why this is a big deal. So let's keep rolling down and see what else they had to say about this. It says this milestone, let me go ahead and highlight this for you so you know where I'm at. It says this milestone builds on Stronghold's recent momentum, including recognition on the Forbes FinTech 50, placement on the 2025 Inc. 5000, SHX first U.S. exchange listing on Kraken, and the launch of a 60 billion SHX smart contract escrow designed to support long-term ecosystem stability. So essentially what they're saying about that is, again, we covered this in the past videos, but SHX is locking up $60 billion in smart contract escrows. So this is going to be a time lock where they cannot access these tokens. They're going to lock it up, and once they do, they cannot move it. This is how things become valuable, because if things start getting listed as supply and demand, as a commodity, which we just recently heard the CFTC has approved commodity listings for different cryptos from the CFTC directly, we are seeing that path starting to unfold. I think you're starting to see SHX get ahead of that, and they're going to make that token valuable. Although, yes, there may be like 100 billion SHX in circulation or in supply, but when they lock up 60 billion of it, that only leaves 40 billion of it. And I went in more detail where the rest of the remainder of the shares go, but that helps get that 60 billion off the market, so that we're not looking at the $100 billion when we're trying to do the math and see where this project's going to go. I'd like to use this opportunity to explain other projects can do the same thing. Let's say they want to start locking up their tokens and different kind of escrow smart contracts like XRP. I know I got a lot of XRP fans out here. What if they were to do the same? Yes, there's 100 billion, maybe was it 40 billion circulated right now or something like that. What if they decide to lock the rest of that up in escrow and take it off the market? Because right now they're doing the opposite effect. They're flooding the market with a bunch of tokens right now. What if they start doing the opposite, lock it up, it becomes more scarce, which helps that price go up, right? That's kind of the supply shock idea. And I think you can see the same thing coming from SHX one day. But while we're on this Uphold, before we move on to the next story, if you haven't yet, you can get a Uphold debit card, credit card, what have you, and you can start using this as a regular bank. And you can do the same thing with Coinbase. You hadn't done that with them either. They are becoming a bank of the future. And if you use Uphold and you deposit $250, they will give you X amount back in XRP. I do not have any kind of affiliation with Uphold. This isn't me trying to shill for them. This is just something I use personally, and I'm just sharing that with you just in case you're not aware of that fact. All right, so let's go ahead and move into the next story, which we were talking about the further expansion of XRP Ledger and possible Solana connectivity. So let's read about this. This actually came out on December 2nd, 2025 from Stronghold, again on their X account. It says, Gov Vote 8. Decide the next bridge. You will help decide where we build next. Should Stronghold bridge SHX to Solana first or deepen our XRPL path? We have already delivered integrations with XRP Ledger in the past. Solana offers a fast-moving payments ecosystem and a strong developer momentum. The vote sets the order of priority dates coming soon. So if we are looking at that, they have already teamed up with XRP Ledger. And if you already know about this, you know SHX Stronghold has a strong connection to Ripple XRP as well, already at baseline. And now they're looking to go even deeper now into Ethereum and Solana. They are really reaching out and they are getting set to become a major institutional player when it comes to payments, okay? But Solana, let's look at their network and see how much money that makes available for them, right? How much they're tapping in. So if they move into the Solana network, we're looking at a $780.45 million network. Then you look at XRP Ledger. Yes, right now it only has $212.96 million, but I think we all can expect that to grow as we start seeing Ripple become more active and more dominant in the market. But when you add up all together, the Solana, Stellar, Ethereum, XRP Ledger, that comes to $13.8 billion they will have exposure to. Not saying that's going to go all on SHX, of course not. But that exposure to that much liquidity is huge for their network, right? So, like I said, you are new here. If you are new here, I'm sorry. If you are new here and you're trying to figure out SHX, let's go ahead and look at the coin market cap and giving you an idea of the price, right? You're 11 minutes in, so you're probably curious at this point. So right here on coin market cap, we have a price of 1 cent. Right now, as I'm telling you, is how early you are. Then we have a market cap of $59.89 million with a fully diluted value of $1.3 billion. And how many wallets or holders we have of it is only 1.96 holders. So think about that. You have less than 2,000 holders of this token SHX, and you are sitting here getting this information before the masses. And think about it. That's just 2,000 holders. How many of those holders are multiple wallets? I have 3 right now. Like I hold 3 different wallets of SHX myself. Who else is doing the same thing? And who else has multiple wallets, right? And right now we only see a circulating supply of 5.78 billion tokens with a max supply of the 99.75 billion, 60 billion in escrow. So you do the math here. As it starts taking off and gaining momentum and we move into 2026, 2027, these tokens will start to fly off the shelf, in my opinion. Then you're going to lose the opportunity if you don't jump in now, if this is something you're looking to do. Of course, it's not financial advice. This is never financial advice. I'm just trying to bring you different projects maybe you haven't heard about yet. And if the ones we have brought you, I want to give you more details on that. All right, so that's all I have for you on this video. But hey, guys, as always, take care of yourself, take care of the people around you, become that change you want to see. I'll see you on the next one.